Okay, John McKeag here. Let's get into why, at this point in time, renting makes sense. Never, at this point in time, you should never get a mortgage. Never, never. You should not get a mortgage for any reason to own your home. You shouldn't do it. It's off the table. Don't do it. There are multiple reasons. Let's go over the financial reason first, okay? Or one of them. One of the financial reasons. The first one is most people get approved for and can get a 30-year mortgage. And so that's kind of the standard. The interest rate today, when I looked it up, was average, and AI, of course, the demons, spit out 6.66. So I'm doing it today. And so let's look at it. There's now one thing to keep in mind. Everything that this is based on, you go. I know when Judgment Day is, and so do all the fallen angels. We're in a 64-year time loop, and it ends on 9/11/2033. So this knowledge is power, and it allows you to apply it practically to financial situations. And this is a financial situation. So let's look at what happens in a 30-year mortgage over the first. Now we got 8.5-ish years, so let's just call it 8 years. Let's look at the 8 years. What happens? So here we are. Let's say a home is 200,000, but really there's no homes that are 200,000. Let's put in at least 300,000. So what are you doing here? For the first 8 years, you see what I'm saying? The interest you're paying every year is huge, but what you're paying off in principal is very little. You see? See over here, the chart matches up. So they long term chart it. You're first of all, you're double paying, more than twice pay. You're paying. See, 57% is into. Oh my God! So it's almost, you're basically triple paying practically for a home by getting a mortgage. So you don't want to do that anyway. You're triple paying the price. So uh, you know, look at this. You're not paying 300,000 for a home. You're paying 700,000. That's how much money it costs you. Uh, because you got to put. Well, what do we put up here? We got 20% down too. So yeah, you're paying 400,000 extra dollars in interest at the current interest rate. Do you have 400 extra thousand dollars laying around? I mean, if you did have $400,000 extra money paying around laying around, you would just pay 300,000. You pay less for the home itself. Unreal, right? It's unbelievable. So way more in interest payments than actual the principal. What they call a principal is how much the home costs. So you're paying way more in interest than for the actual home. So a horrible idea to get a mortgage in any case, right? But now let's look at the horror, given that there's only 8.5 years left. Here's the payments, here's the balance going down. So, we're up to like 8 years. Here's out in about 12 years. That's when the interest and payment, interest and principal payments come together as equal. So basically, over the first 8 years, you can see right here, you're hardly paying any principal whatsoever. It's so you're not paying off the home in the first 8 years. So if there's only 8 years left, why would you do it? It doesn't make any sense to do it. You're not paying off the home, and what happens? You're locked into that home, right? You have to live there. It's not like real estate is easy to sell, especially now in any downturn. Like I'm in Florida. You think a home is easy to sell? No. If you drop the price way below what you paid for recently, okay, maybe. But there are very few buyers out there compared to, you know, how many homes are out there for sale. If you look in different certain areas, like not far from me in my area, like Northport is stuff is, whatever. I'm driving there in a half hour. So it's very close where they have basically 24 months of supply. Uh, there's still a lot of supply in this area too. It's hard to sell a piece of property right now. And so, you know, you're looking at, well, what am I going to do? Well, renting is cheaper everywhere, here, everywhere, than paying a mortgage. There's certain areas of the country where it's just absolutely super cheap to pay rent. So, uh, you know, look at the rent here versus all these different places where rent is so much cheaper. Uh, it's narrower here in Orlando or whatever, but no. So it's always cheaper. It's just how much cheaper it is uh, to rent. So just financially on just the rent itself, you don't want to be paying a mortgage, period. Plus, you're supporting the bankers. You're supporting a slavery. Who wants to do that? Like, don't do it. Um, so it's just cheaper. Now let's look at some other reasons, okay? Let's just say your neighbors suck. You move there, maybe even you don't even know what your neighbors are going to be like right in the beginning. Maybe they suck immediately. You didn't even know. Now you're locked into this house. You can't move. Horrible. If you're renting and your neighbors are horrible, well, rent for a year, say, at the most. And so at the longest problem, you have 1 year. Whereas if you're purchasing with the 30-year mortgage, ostensibly you got 30 years, but you have 8.5 years of horrible neighbors. So that's a really bad idea for that reason, all on its own. So let's say now we're 8.5 years, still Judgment Day. You can see cataclysms are picking up and they will get worse. Every year worse. Every single year worse. There'll be in different areas where, it's, worse in Asheville and Florida and California, the past year. And you're like, well, it wasn't so bad in my area. Yeah, but, all different areas are going to be affected and the cataclysms will be picking up. And so it makes sense to be extremely liquid, meaning to have cash available, to have US minted gold coins available, which are readily turned into cash or any other script they name. So it's, a house. If you're in a cataclysm area like Florida, that's what happened. We got 3 hurricanes in a row. Wicked hurricanes destroyed so much and basically destroyed people's will to live here. If you've ever been through a hurricane, and I've been through 3 last year, not to mention all the other ones I've been through, but if you've ever been through one at over 120 miles an hour sustained for, hours on it coming in, and then it stops in the eye of the hurricane, and then it's on the way out. A lot of people don't want to experience that again. They don't want to experience that again. So they're selling their house and they're selling at a loss and losing a huge amount of money. Horrible. They could have just rented and come, oh, hey, I got my COVID money. So they could have come to Florida and rented. And then a couple years went by and they're like, oh, cataclysms, let's get out of here. Let's go back to wherever they are deciding to go back to now, or go not back, but somewhere else. Now if they had rented, they're totally liquid. They would be paying less than, they would have paid in a mortgage. They'd be getting off financially fine. they wouldn't have all the problems that homeowners have in Florida. That wouldn't be their reality. And so you want to remain liquid. In fact, to the point where you want to have cash on hand in your residence, gold coins, and you're ready. Oh, here comes a cataclysm, and you want to be packed. I mean, you live in Florida, you want to be, you have your Airbnbs where you're going to go, which city, or depending on what type of cataclysm it is, a hurricane track. Where how you getting out? By train? You getting out by car? You getting out by plane? Well, who are you flying with? What city are you going to? How are the Airbnbs there? You see what I'm saying? You can't just have one plan because the storm track could be going to your planned area where you're going to go. So you want to have, you know, extremely different locations geographically on where you're going to go. Oh, the plan is, well, we could go A or B or maybe C. So, because plays could go different places, trays go different places, you could drive different places. So, you could have relatively close by exit, go by car. You could have a much further destination, go by plane. If you're totally planned out, you buy that plane ticket, you're ready to go. You get all that trade, you're out of here. So, do you live near a trade where you can get on a trade? I mean, it's good to have those kind of optionality. Do you live near an airport? Okay, roads wash out. 75 got washed out during the big hurricane in Northport a couple years ago. 75 was just closed, completely got washed away. A canal, a levee broke, and no one could get by 75. You need a boat. No cars, where you gonna drive when it's 20 feet deep? I don't think so. Nope, that's not gonna happen. So you have to have different plans, different methods. You see, and as soon as you see the cataclysm coming, you're like, oh, okay, well let's it's just a cost of being there. It's a cost of being in Florida. Oh, you got a hurricane coming? Well, I mean, I'm not big on leaving it no more, but uh, why stay? Also, I'm in a mobile home. Okay, maybe not the best at hurricanes, you say, yeah, but it's not. I bought this place for $2,500 8 years ago, and there's a monthly payment that was $550 when I got it 8 years ago. Now it's $850. Super affordable still, at an extremely good location. So, kind of a mobile home with rent and stuff like that is kind of like, it's owned under a title and the land is rented. In this case, you can own a land in certain areas and own a mobile home. But if you're not putting all your resources into the home itself, you're not totally locked into it. Okay, you bought a mobile home. I mean, in Florida, the weather is so good so often, you're not indoors a lot, honestly, and you want to be outdoors a lot here. So it's not like, you're living in your house all the time inside, locked away from the weather and stuff like that. So for here, it makes sense. Maybe I don't want to be in a mobile home where it's cold all the time. You got to get out of the box daily, to not go stir crazy, especially in a smaller, tiny home. Like a mobile home is smaller than most people experience in a house. So it's extremely important to be liquid at this point as we're coming to the end of time. Uh, Knowledge is power. And so plan accordingly. It's easier to have different experiences and enjoy yourself more too. I want to rent during this time period, during the summer in America during the summer. Okay, it's hot in Florida. Maybe you don't want to be there. Rent up north then. Okay, be a snowbird, go back and forth. That is possible. More expensive to do that because short-term rentals are more expensive, but it is possible to do that. If you like certain weather, you could be in certain locations for certain reasons. It is possible to do that. Uh, I understand it makes sense. Oh, I gotta move all my stuff or whatever. Yeah. Try not to have that much stuff is another thing that's very helpful. If you do, then, okay, I like this place. People are in, like halfbackers, they call them. They move to Florida, they move halfway back to up north, like in the Carolinas or something like that. It's kind of a more moderate climate. A lot more people are moving in certain areas for that reason. But if you look, like, for example, in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, Raleigh, Cary, and so on, rentals are ridiculously affordable in that area. There's so many choices, and there's so many new options, like, to rent it, because it's just a lot of housing on the market, and a lot of planned rental communities where, if you're renting a home, right, guess who has to fix everything? The landlord. You get a cataclysm, you get a problem with the home. Oh, I gotta buy a new refrigerator. Oh, I gotta buy, a new HVAC system. Oh, the roof went bad. You need a new roof, or, the front yard washed away. These are all problems for the landlord. They're not your problem. And if the place is somehow inhabitable, well, guess what? You're out of your lease. Okay, see you later. And it's the landlord's problem. It's not your problem. Off you go. There are plenty more places to rent. So it just absolutely, at this time, does not make sense to do anything but rent. I, I mean, in an extreme circumstance, right? If you have a lot of extra cash, and you want to own a place, and with my work you can get rid of the real estate taxes, and it's a slam dunk to do it, which isn't in many places. Like, I only heard, like, they automatically do it in Missouri. I never heard of anywhere else where they, like, automatically put it in a trust, and they do it without even application. I've only seen that happen in Missouri. So, you want to live in Missouri, things are affordable, but I mean, do you know Missouri? I don't. You're gonna have to go someplace or rent. Oh, what if you don't like it in a certain area and stuff? You see what I'm saying? It still makes sense to rent. I just don't see how a purchase of a home using a mortgage or any other method actually makes any sense in any location at this point. I don't see it. Put the pressure on the landlord. Oh, you want to be landlord? You want to own real estate? It's becoming clear to many landlords that it's very stupid to do that. Like the commercial landlords, uh, oh, hey, we're not working in offices anymore, and price of office space and commercial rental, like commercial property, is plummeting. Now you got Doge, right? And the U.S. government saying, "Hey, we're not rent. We're terminating, you know, so many leases and selling so much commercial real estate." So commercial real estate is having a giant problem at this point. That's going to translate for the reasons that I'm telling you. Oh, you don't think there's 8.5 years left? Yeah, but they all know. The rulers of this place, the ones running everything, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And so you don't think they're going to have a response to what I'm talking about? They're not going to have a response to this situation. They are. So real estate prices are plummeting. You want to purchase something that's going to have plummeting value. That's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. Remain liquid, pay rent. It makes sense to do that. Have assets on hand. Have a plan on hand for cataclysms. And then, you're just out of there. Hey, sorry, your place is unrentable. See you later. Or you just don't want to be there. Uh, is the landlord going to fight you for all that money? Do they have easy access to a credit report? Maybe if they're, a decent size real estate place, but an actual landlord, what are they going to put something on your credit report? No, they can't do that. You're just out of there without paying. See ya. So, no, it doesn't make sense to purchase real estate at this point. It doesn't. So, I hope we're clear on that. All right.